Good morning, Stocktwits crew. Happy Fatful Friday. What an intro. I haven't seen that intro yet.
Yeah, I
Michael,
didn't
I don't
either.
know
That
if
was
you saw
super
that
cool.
intro yet. That was phenomenal. Love
Yeah.
that. Big shout out to that. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. It's been a crazy week in this market. I feel like I've been saying that the past 2-3 weeks, but I mean, it has been. Look at this price action we've been getting. It's insane. Way more bullish than a lot of people have been thinking, huh, Michael?
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected coming all the way back, and I think that's why it's going to continue to go, right? I think everyone is caught so far off guard, especially large hedge funds, institutions. I think they're probably underinvested. I'm excited to see, commitment of traders data and all that kind of stuff that we get on the weekend, because I'm willing to bet that there's a lot of people who are still short, which would be really bad, or they're not long enough, and that's just as bad. So it could be very interesting to get involved there for sure.
Yeah, this whole week we went into all the targets I wanted, and after hitting those targets and seeing some high time frame consolidation, I was looking for the down move too, but just never got any confirmation of it this week. So, but futures up, obviously, a little bit in the pre-market here, holding up pretty good. We'll see what happens into the open, but crypto is going nuts. Bitcoin at 103,000, ETH at 2,500. Solana at $170. This is nuts, Michael. How are we feeling about crypto and the pump? And I mean, everything's just kind of holding at these big areas. So interested on your
What
thoughts there.
what I think is super interesting is that it led us there. I think that's the big thing, is that it wasn't. It's not that crypto is moving with the market like it generally does. Generally speaking, you'll look at Bitcoin and it's moving like a leveraged version of the Qs or something like that. It led us, right. We were still in kind of the dumps and consolidating sideways, and then we had a push up on crypto, and that happened first, and then the market caught up. So I'll be interested to see if that's something that's potentially go like that going forward, because of the 24/7 nature. I think that had a lot to do with it. Is on Sunday when they had the China deal and all of that, there's no markets to YOLO, right? There's no equity markets to get into. So if you are a institution or something, before you just had to wait till Monday and take a trade. But I think more and more you're getting institutional involvement, saying, okay, let's buy some Bitcoin, let's get some exposure. The news is out. We can take that trade now in the real world or in the crypto world, and then we can hedge it later, or we can do whatever, and vice versa to the downside. I think if there's some catastrophic event that happens on the weekend, people could reduce exposure, they could reduce, or they could short Bitcoin, they could do something like that, and then they take the other side of the trade. So the 24-hour nature of this is really interesting, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. And shout out to the Crypto Twits charts there. We love that on the Stocktwits platform. Love to see
Yeah.
that. So, what's
It's a
up?
cool. It's a cool look. I like the yellow. I
Yeah.
for some reason, I'm not a big. I show green and red charts, but when the cameras aren't looking, I use different colors, because I find, I don't know, I find the green and red kind of like triggers you. It's green, I should buy it. And it's red, I should sell it. And
Yeah, my charts are
it's,
completely black and white. I'm the same
yeah,
way. I hate the red
same.
and green candlestick, so I am with you there. Obviously, let's dive into Coinbase. Coinbase has been
Mm.
a big topic over the past few days with everything going on. Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Michael. If you want to take the screen,
Yep.
feel free.
Yeah, I got
But
a coin up here.
yeah, I mean, Coinbase, obviously the best news coming into the S&P 500, and then the day after we're getting all this craziness. So a
Hmm.
wild 48 hours. Obviously, they're finally joining the S&P, but then they get hit with a breach, hacked bribe support agents to steal customers' data, and the hackers demanded $20 million. Coinbase said no, offered a $20 million bounty on the hackers instead, and the shares have dropped 7.2%. That cleanup
That
cost could cost up to $400
That
million.
video was awesome. Like, I retweeted that video yesterday, and I was like,
Yeah.
that was just such a, because it was the CEO very candidly talking to everyone out there and saying, this is what happened. This is it affected 1% of people, and then basically just two middle fingers up to the hackers and said, if you can find these guys, I'll give you 20 million. And I thought it was a great move, just kind of a, we will not be will not be contained. Now, I think it's really important to talk about, and again, full disclosure, I always have to, I'm in Coinbase a lot. I really like the company. I think if you want traditional exposure to crypto through the traditional markets, this is a great way to do it because they make money while you're waiting for those periods of time that crypto is doing nothing. This is something that makes money in the meantime. But the importance, because I got a lot of questions, why do people care if it's added to the S&P 500? Well, the main reason for that is that there are millions of Americans that every 2 weeks take some of their money and they dump it into VOO, SPY, something that tracks the S&P 500. So it puts a floor on most stocks that are inside the S&P 500 because every time you put money into VOO to buy, they have to buy a fraction of all of the 500 stocks out there. So this is a huge deal because not only is it a bit of a sign off for crypto in general from like the one of the biggest, most prestigious kind of companies out there, the S&P 500 or the Standard and Poor's, but it's also saying now that every 2 weeks there will be some money, some percentage of money that exists out there in the world being indirectly put into Coinbase and being indirectly put into via the S&P 500. So it makes it super interesting. And then from a technical point of view, this just looks like the most clean kind of cup and handle I've seen in a long time on this. So yeah, it's huge news for this from kind of a long-term point of view. If you were kind of an old manager and you're still didn't understand this whole wacky crypto thing that's going on, well, now you don't have to, right? Just by participating in the SP 500, you're participating in crypto.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest. To me, I mean, seeing that they're added to the S&P 500 and then all this happens right after, I don't really see it as a coincidence. And even if it is, at the end of the day, I think this would just create a lot of FUD to generate a lot of liquidity to end up going higher later because nothing's changed for the long-term perspective, right? We saw so many companies dump during the downturn we just had, and it's the same thing there, right? Those good companies, nothing ever changed with them. It's just prices were dropping, and it's the same thing here for me. And we didn't even drop that much, to be honest. I would have expected us to tank way harder on some of this news, and we're actually not. We're holding up really well. But again, to me, like any dips we see to maybe go fill that gap there, if we need to retest some levels, I think any like negativity in the chart that you're gonna see is complete FUD because, I mean, this is great for the long-term perspective of Coinbase. So that's kind of my thoughts there. Similar to how I've been with the long-term stuff. Like, screw the headlines. What's the long-term moat? If it's there, it's just cheaper prices, right? So, kind of my thoughts there.
Right, if you're trying to think of what's the Goldman Sachs of crypto, right? It has to be Coinbase. They've got the CEO has been trying to since the day one be on board with trying to make sure that there is as much regulation as he can do. He was doing KYC and all this regulatory stuff before he had to. That's super encouraging that you get someone having like that. And the fact that we're not down that much, I think you're right. I think there's probably a lot of FOMO going on here. A lot of funds that wish they were involved in this name now that's in the S&P 500. So we know that those institutions, they don't buy gap ups, right? They buy on dips. So they're probably going to be dips coming in, and then those dips I think may be bought. So I'm looking to certainly add to my position. Again, as a technical guy, this cup and handle is just amazing, right? From 400 to 30 and then all the way back. The amount of people that are probably short in here and having a bad time is pretty big, right?
Yeah. No, looking good for sure. I've always liked Coinbase too, personally. Always been a name I like. And just off that, the SEC did resurface with old allegations about Coinbase inflating user numbers before its IPO. Coinbase said it already disclosed and corrected the issue. And the Stocktwits sentiment shows retail is still extremely bullish, which shout out to the Stocktwits crew because I'm with you. I'm with you guys. I think the same thing. It's all FUD. We'll see some, probably see some dips into that gap. I would anticipate, people, price starts falling. Everybody that just bought is getting stopped out, right? And that's when they end up running it. So we'll see what happens there. What else we got? Built for degens who move fast. Your feed shouldn't be 90. Oh, Is that the Cryptotwits?
Built for degens who move fast.
I don't know
Jeez,
if
yeah.
Keith is going to throw that up in the back, but let me
The
know. Either way, we can roll into things on your heat map, Michael, now, so I want to see that.
yeah, we
Did
can
you
just
say
take
you
a
had
quick
one for
look.
crypto, by the way?
I don't. I'll work on it. I think I
That would
can.
be
I think
cool.
I can figure it out. I
That'd
think
be
I can
cool.
point this at a
We'd like
list.
to
But
see it.
across the board here, there's a lot of flat and then a whole bunch of green. I'm not seeing a lot of red here. So even Tesla, this last couple days for Tesla have just been insanely volatile. Every day on the heat map, it's either up 3% or down 3%, or there's no middle ground here, right? There's no it's we're ripping or we're tanking. We even have UNH, full disclosure. I've been kind of lagging into this one. We have this moving higher as well. I've been that's a long term kind of investment for me. I've been plowing a little bit into, but overall looking good. And then and we don't have the heat map, but we have this. This is my own personal crypto watch list. And you can see pretty much green across the board, down even on Bitcoin just a little bit, but the rest of these coins are super interesting. There's one chart I wanted to show you, Jordan, get feedback. Um, yeah, the dog with hat had a bad day. Everything else is doing pretty much okay. So if we take a look here at what was the chart I want to show you? Ethereum, Bitcoin. Cool. Yeah, first, right? What do you think of this? So this is Ethereum over Bitcoin, right? So for the viewers,
Boy.
if this line goes down, Bitcoin's outperforming Ethereum. You can see generally, what's happened for the last 3-4 years. Bitcoin has just been beating Ethereum, and then just look at this over the last couple days.
Something's changing.
Do you think this is? It seems like a change in sentiment, but do we think this is going to continue? Do we think it's finally? I don't know how many times I've heard the term altcoin season. Do we think it's finally going to start to be altcoin season out there?
I think, I'm liking the way that looks. That momentum off the lows can't be ignored, for sure.
Yeah.
So I would say, kind of where we created that momentum, that needs to hold. Simple as that. Price should not be going under that, in my opinion, if you're bullish there. So I think it's a good chance that you could continue to see Ethereum doing well, and even better than Bitcoin right now. But, you got to keep that momentum going. So I like that chart, though. I'm going to keep an eye on that, Michael. I haven't really looked at that before, the ETH versus Bitcoin. So I'm going to keep an eye
Ratio
on that.
charts from the
Yeah.
CMT nerd. I think ratio charts are really slept on comparing one to the other, and even more so in crypto, because there's some people who just live their life in the crypto world. So Ethereum versus Bitcoin means more to them than just a ratio chart. If you're living your life in the Bitcoin world, then you don't really care. Everything else is, if you bring up a chart of Apple, it's really Apple over US dollars. But if you're not someone who's holding US dollars, you don't really care. You care about the price of Apple versus Bitcoin. You care about the price of all these different names versus Bitcoin. So I think it's interesting because if I'm living entirely in the crypto world, then it's just can I swap from Bitcoin to Ethereum and then maybe to Solana later right, you can live kind of all inside this world just by switching from kind of coin to coin.
Yeah, 100%. And guys, if you're in the audience and you're like me, I love stocks, I love crypto, I love them both. And now you can just go up to the top left and literally pick between Stocktwits, Cryptotwits, get all that information that you need right there. So I love that. All the trending tokens, filtered signals, created watch lists, just no fluff. All the crypto stuff for my crypto boys out there. So take advantage of it. It is there and looking good.
So many of these tokens I've never even heard.
I know,
This
this
is
is
actually
crazy.
this is why I'm excited for the crypto space and why I'm excited for potential alt season. Why I brought up that chart is because I have some money on exchange where I do some trading in, but as a someone who builds systems and build algorithms, I'm currently working on algorithms and systems, trend following systems for crypto, and they work amazing. And I don't know if it's because technical analysis works so much better on something that doesn't have that kind of intrinsic value. Like, how do you do a discounted cash flow analysis of Pepe that I see up there? You don't. It's all sentiment and positioning, right? So, you know, the simple breakout on the chart you could have taken. You can use the sentiment, you can use the positioning, you can see one of the systems that I'm looking at that I think would be amazing is bearish. Give me bearish sentiment and give me a coin moving up. I think the combination of those two things, that's perfect, right? Extremely bearish 3 months ago. I think the combination of those two things would make for a wicked trading strategy, and that's what I'm testing currently, is show me the stuff that everybody hates the most that's moving higher, because there's nothing like price to change sentiment, and quite often people will kind of chase things up. If they were bearish initially and then it rips higher, then all of a sudden, funny enough, they're bullish again.
Yeah, you love to see. I mean, you've really seen that this whole dip, right? And I think now the people that, the people that were on social media and heavily bearish on this area, it's hard to go long now when you've came out and been very certain that it's going the other way. It's hard to kind of do that, but it's what you have to do, right? We have to adapt. I've been wrong plenty over these past few months, but it's a matter of when I'm wrong, I'm switching my thoughts quickly, adapting to what the market's telling me, and changing what I'm thinking, versus just sitting with the thoughts. I mean, a week and a half ago, I was sitting back saying, I'm expecting the market to be manipulated to go lower here on a higher time frame. And look at what we do. I mean, that monthly candle is ridiculous, Michael Nauss. If you've looked at that, the momentum is just continuing to gain. And if we close up here, I mean, I personally think we're going to all-time highs if we're closing the monthly as strong as we are, like trading it right now. So we'll see what happens there. But that momentum just can't be ignored.
I measured out that last move when we finally broke, because it's been almost a year around that 70,000 mark, and just frustrated the bulls, frustrated the bears. Everyone had a really kind of sore time. Yeah, you're highlighting there that chop in through there. And when we broke, that was a 40% rip. So if it's going to somewhat continue in the same direction, that could be amazing as well. That'd be another 40% rip, and that gets us to, from here, obviously around 140,000, 150,000 a coin. So I'll take it, right? So I've got stop limits out. I've got alerts set up that if we break that high, that all-time high, I'm going to be getting involved. Because the thing to know with crypto is that you have this long periods of nothing, and then huge moves that you just have to be kind of locked in and ready for. So, right, set your alerts, get everything good to go. But yeah, Bitcoin over this 105 area, I'm a buyer, and then targeting that 150.
Honestly, people gotta get off any chart that's under a daily looking at crypto. Honestly, if you've been watching a monthly, a weekly, that whole time where nothing was really happening and we were kind of getting those dips to 73, 74, 75K, it all looked extremely constructive, at least to me. I mean, there was nothing nasty about that when you're sitting on a higher time frame, and you have to with crypto. Crypto's so wicky and manipulated. It's like you can't be sitting on a 5-minute or even an hourly. I can't do it. I have to be on a higher time frame. So just a little tip for the audience, don't let that lower time frame noise screw you up. Listen to that higher time frame, because that's what Bitcoin is really running off of anyway. It's not like NQ intraday trading, you know what I mean, with these little scalps back and forth and everything. It's on a bigger time frame. So hopefully that can help some people. But yeah, real quick, little message from our sponsor, Grayscale. Let's get that up on the screen, Keith. But Grayscale is the world's largest crypto native asset manager and has over a decade of experience helping investors get into crypto investing. If you're thinking about crypto, start investing with Grayscale. And look for their investment products directly in your brokerage account. So big shout out to them. Obviously, we've been talking a lot of crypto this morning, so wanted to throw that out there.
Looking to add a Bitcoin fund to your portfolio? Do it with the Bitcoin Mini Fund from Grayscale, the lowest cost way to get exposure to Bitcoin in your investment account. Just search for fund ticker BTC wherever you invest. The Bitcoin Mini from Grayscale. Think crypto. Invest Grayscale.
I'm loving these videos.
It's cool.
I don't know about the crew. I'm loving that video. I'm loving the intro video. This is fun. I like this. Let's go.
Well, and back to Grayscale, man. You got to remember, for the people who are new to this, they were the OGs. They were trying to hack in Bitcoin products forever. They're like, okay, we can't do an ETF, so they would do like some of this weird like trust, product that they because they were trying to get people as early as you could exposure to the market, and it worked, right? That I traded them a lot, the Bitcoin scale trust, and they had an Ethereum one before that. I think they even have like little ones. Like I saw Mana. Yeah, there's a Mana trust right now in the OTC market.
Really?
If you're one of those guys who likes the Decentraland type thing, so yeah, they're giving you access to a lot of these coins because I know for me, there's never going to be a world where the majority of my money is in like a Kraken or something like that. It's always going to be in, a broker that's insured and all that kind of stuff. So it's great that I can get exposure to some of these things and not have to move around too
Yeah.
much. Again, I think it's great.
No, yeah, really good stuff there. Let's go on to what Pal's been talking about. Pal says ZERP is dead, but macros still chill. Zero interest rates probably gone for good. The Fed's 2020 monetary framework is under review. Producer prices dropped 0.5% in April, the biggest monthly drop since 2020. And the core PPI declined 0.1%, which was the first time since 2020. I actually did not know that. That's something to not be ignored for sure. On the consumer side, retail sales were flat, up just 0.1%. China to U.S. Shipping surged 50% post-tariff pause, so looks like a little more certainty there coming in. I don't know. You got any thoughts on all that been happening, Michael, and obviously with Pal and just everything going on?
I think it is 100% positioning now. I don't think anyone could say anything to other than, okay, I'm putting the tariffs back on, everything's going back to the dark ages down here. Just because it's one of those things where, like we talked about, if you do not have enough, if you don't have enough, if you're not long enough, then you're gonna have a really hard time come June when you have to sit down with your clients at the end of June and say, yeah, the market's up this year, but I'm down because I got scared and I puked out all of your positions on the lows, and now I'm not involved. And this is why I think you're seeing just every day, like if we go into like a 30-minute chart, every time there is even remote kind of intraday dip, it is just getting bought up aggressively. And that's because, as we talked about, these funds, they're too big to buy as things are ripping. So they have to wait for some sort of dip to get involved. And I think that trend is going to continue until this positioning changes. So one thing that I'm actually watching, I can show you here, is comes out every week. This is the commitment of traders data. So you have to disclose, if you are a large trader, how much futures you own. The commitment trader data, I think, is a really, really useful tool. And essentially, the higher this line, the more long the average kind of large speculator is, the lower, the more short or not involved. And you can see net short a little bit as of last week, and certainly not long enough. And that, came out right, would have been on this candle right here. So we get another one of those over the weekend. And as always, right, very long at the top, very short to flat at the bottom. It just happens over and over again because, as we know, a lot of these guys are quite wrong. So that's why I think there's this big catch-up trade going on, is because they're not long enough. They're not invested. There's so much FOMO going on here. It makes me think that we don't care anymore what Jay Powell says. I don't think we even care anymore what Trump says, as long as he doesn't have. As long as it's not one of those things where he's saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to put all the tariffs back on. China said something mean to me, so we're going back to where it was. I think
Market's just getting used to it. Market's just so used to it, I feel like, now, too. I mean, the more you come out with the kind of same news over and over, the more the market's just going to get used to it and not care as much, So, and again, I mean, I haven't looked... I mean, obviously, yes, I see headlines from like scrolling around Twitter and everything, but when I'm trading, this whole time I have not looked at a single headline to make decisions for me, because that's not, it's not going to help me, right? We think it does sometimes, especially as new investors, but it is not going to help us. The mass, I mean, look at the majority of people didn't buy the dip, and look where we're trading now, right? And so that's what it is for me. I mean, I have to take part in those dips.
Well, and this is one time that it makes me very happy that the institutions, as we can see by this chart, they got it wrong, right? That net short to flat. Retail got this so right, and it made me so happy. It was Ryan Diedrich, I think, who posted. There was the largest influx kind of in this area here, from retail into S&P 500 tracking ETFs than like ever. Billions and billions of dollars. Everybody who had any kind of cash on the sidelines was just plowing it into the market, right at the lows. So that makes me super happy just to see retail finally get the leg up and say, okay, they weren't net sellers at the lows the way institutions were. They were net buyers. And there's a lot of people that were clowning on them, if you know you're on Twitter or whatever, off that number, that massive net inflow number. And turns out they were right. You know, they're doing better than most institutions. I think you're going to see a lot of hedge funds either blow up or get shut down because of this. Shut down just because if enough clients take their money out and say, man, during this massive crash, if I would have been better just sitting in the S&P 500, why am I paying you exorbitant fees to get involved? If you're just going to puke out my holdings at the lows and not get back in.
I don't get it, Michael. Why don't these people just set an alert for QQQ down 15-20% whenever it happens? I mean, cha-ching. I genuinely am so confused on why people would pay a financial advisor to sell the bottom and then pay them to sell the bottom. What are we doing?
Everyone's taught that it's too complicated, and it's really not. It's, you know, most of your money goes, and again, as someone who trades, I do all kinds of crazy quant stuff, and I wouldn't recommend my life to most people, but most people, it should be most of your money goes into index ETFs. You're right. You set an alert when the VIX spikes or when the market tanks, and you take out as much cash as you can and you throw it in there. And then, you know, if you want to play, you sprinkle in, say, 80% of your money's in index fund. And that 20% you're taking flyers on. Oh, I really like Coinbase. I'm going to throw some money in there.
Yeah.
You know, you'll do better than most of these guys on average, for sure.
I mean, that's all I'm doing, guys. I'm a day trader at heart. I sold all my individual names because your boy got really lucky last year. And I mean, we rolled a lot of those profits into SPY. Not enough, though, to be honest. Being 22 years old and having 30% cash seems a little too much. But it is what it is.
Negative 30% cash.
I know.
If anything, if I could zoom back to your time, I would be.
I know, didn't buy enough on the dip. I was trying to be a good investor, put a third in, you know, wait for another potential dip. It didn't work. But we will always have other opportunities. So I'll be patient. We'll get another opportunity to be able to throw that money in. I definitely would not throw it in here. I don't care where the market can go from here. I do not buy long-term investments when we're flying right back to the highs like this, right? I am waiting for those 10-20% dips in the S&P and QQQ. So.
Well, and at the very least, you're in an environment now that I didn't have my whole life, in where your cash is earning you money, right? My whole trading career, zero interest rates, right? The whole time. So it was, you own stocks or nothing, right? It's to the point now where I'm an old man and got some cash sitting around, and I can actually earn 4 or 5% on it, right? So
that's still crazy to me. Maybe I just don't get it, but it's still crazy to me that you can just throw your money in some of these brokerages, never trade a day in your life, and just be collecting money. It's amazing. I mean, big shout out to that. So, real quick, just some stock highlights. Foot Locker up 85.7%. Is that real? I did not see this.
Is this the stupidest buyout of all time? So what's happening is Dick's Sporting Goods is buying Foot Locker. But why? And why are they paying double the current stock price? I think this might go down as one of the dumbest buyouts of all time. You took a failing company and you came along and said, I'm going to give you double. You know, it's almost like Foot Locker's got, you know, dirt on Dick's Sporting Goods and they're like ransoming. Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me.
Oh, there's that bell.
That sneaks up on you.
There's that bell, baby.
Yeah,
Foot Locker. I mean, I don't even know what to say. That's ridiculous.
Hey, Lia. Yeah, I think history books are going to look at this the dumbest buyout of all time. But what do I know? Maybe they've got some grand plan for Foot Locker. But they definitely overpaid, and their stock is reflecting that. Nobody is happy that they spent that much.
2.3 billion, $24 a share, 2 times Wednesday's closing price. Where are we? Wait, what's the?
Yeah.
What are we at right now? 23.80. Oh, jeez.
I don't get it. Maybe I'm
yeah.
not smart enough to get it, but I don't get it.
Me neither
at all. So
that's all right. I'll keep trading my NQ. Let's see. Walmart down 0.5%. Q1 revenue beat, but Q2 profit guidance withheld. Warned if tariffs rise, prices will rise too, which makes sense there, of course.
It's a nice candle.
Walmart's just a beautiful chart for the most part. You know what I mean? This name has done so well on the long-term side of things, and I think it still looks great. We're just kind of consolidating on a higher time frame. Obviously, earnings and all this stuff's going on, but I think this name just looks phenomenal. And if you're a holder of Walmart, I think you're living pretty good right now. And we just need to get over that $100. Stay over that $100. That would be nice to see.
Hey, Leah.
Good morning.
There's Lia. Good morning.
I was so focused on the charts, I didn't see.
I know,
that.
me too.
How are
I
things?
was looking at what you guys are doing.
Good morning. Good morning. We are just running through it. I mean, we were just talking about Foot Locker and Walmart a little bit. Foot Locker up 85%. Do you have any thoughts on that? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, the retail XRT is picking up for some reason. Oh my god, I see now. I fell. Okay, no, well. What did they have news?
Well, Dick's Sporting Goods to buy them for $2.3 billion.
Wow.
So
I like the sporting goods. I actually go there.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Well, heard
I love
that.
store. Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Good stuff.
I don't know if we have those up here. I don't think I've seen one. I get all
Oh,
mine at
that's
Canadian
okay.
Tire like a good boy. That's where I do all my shopping. Good
Oh
old
my gosh.
Canadian.
That's hilarious. Leah, it's been a
Yeah.
crazy week. We've had obviously a lot of upside price action just flying in this market, a lot of strength. I'd love to get you to share your screen and share any trades you've been kind of talking about or trades for the day.
Let
Would
me
love
do
to see them.
that. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Wait
Foot
a
Locker.
second.
You're good, no worries. I can't stand this Foot Locker chart. I'm gonna be watching this all day now.
Well, it's
This
going
is
to go
insane.
sideways all day. So
Yeah, I might go,
save
yeah,
yourself.
after this, yeah, we go
After
sideways.
buy
Yeah.
out, it's
But
done.
I'm gonna keep an eye on this on the watch list. This is interesting.
Yeah, maybe for some retest of the gap, huh?
Yeah, we'll
Maybe
see.
Gap and go, who knows?
Ooh, Adobe.
Oh yeah, so that's my trade, and quite interestingly, I've been trading after hours more than I usually do.
I feel like the London and Asia session have been pretty good, honestly.
I saw this one yesterday at the close, and I'm like, I think this one is gonna go. So I got in yesterday after hours at 4:05, and look at that.
Yeah.
We might close the gap. It's fine, but that's my play. And then for this week, what we played, GBTC, which is great. I own this one actually from $40. It's been like my holding in my Roth IRA. So my whole Roth IRA is crypto.
Gotcha.
I
Wow.
don't have anything else there. I just have crypto.
Well, it's looking good right now, isn't it? That
Yeah, I was
portfolio
gonna say,
is
looking great
skyrocketing.
now. That's
Yeah.
as
Beautiful
long as you
on
can sleep
bottom.
well with at night. That would scare
I
the
do not mind the
ever
movement.
loving.
Honestly, I've been in crypto for 8 years now. Yeah.
Leah's learned to just set it, forget it, and
Doesn't
walk
bother
away.
me. And yeah, of course, then I have this EBIT. Also great chart.
Yeah, no,
And-
looking really good.
You know, like all these horrible things happening. Like Coinbase had issued this week, right, with the bribing. They tried to steal information from customers from their database. We had the kidnapping in Paris that almost happened because of crypto. There's so much stuff happening all the time, and it's not gonna stop. That's why I prefer to have most of my crypto investments in ETFs like this. I really prefer it because I feel safer. And they're moving well. They're moving with Bitcoin, and no one can steal them from my E-Trade, you know?
It's big facts.
So quite frankly, after losing a lot of crypto to scams years ago, I am very skeptical. So this is a very good way, also for regular retail, or people that are just starting. Like imagine you're 70 years old. I have friends, they're 70 plus, and they're trying to get into crypto. to figure out the whole entire thing, how to do it, that was
Yeah,
one
no
of the
shot.
reasons why I haven't been in crypto even earlier. I heard of
Yeah.
crypto from 2012, 13, but
Yeah.
give me a break. How on earth was I supposed to figure it out? And
Yeah,
nobody
well, and
around
the
me knew.
brokerages are just so tough to use. Sometimes you have all the fees, and it's nice. I feel like
Yeah.
again, like traditional finance investors, they love these ETFs because
Oh,
it makes it
yeah.
easier. It's what they know, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But they're still capitalizing on whatever the
movement.
movement is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and yeah,
Then-
tax deferred accounts and things like that, right?
Yeah,
Like, I've
exactly.
got a whole bunch of IBIT. Yeah, I think it's probably equivalent of what you said your Roth, or it's an RRSP up here, but it's the
Yeah, I don't
same
have to
idea
pay
as that.
tax. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just have it in there, and it's just
Yeah.
part of the thing. So I can't do that in Kraken. I've got some money in Kraken, but for me that's just trading, right? That's the algos I'm building, the systems. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that kidnapping stuff, man. I used to work for a crypto cybersecurity firm, and that was something we held crypto before there was insurance on it, and that was a big deal because there was a handful of those, the Mott Gox guy in Canada that got kidnapped and all of that. So yeah, it was so much that we had like safe words that if we were held ransom, that we had to say that would burn the crypto, and because it's a big target, because in theory if someone has access to the wallets,
Yeah.
they can take it's the way you would do a bank heist nowadays, right?
And you
So-
won't find them because where it's going, That's
Don't-
that's the point.
Michael
Right, they
Now's
throw it
giving
into
people
tornado.
ideas in the audience right now.
Well, especially now that the Tornado Cash guy, because the Tornado Cash was shut down. For those who don't know, it's just you could put crypto into this, and it would mix it up with all the other crypto that's in there, and it would shoot it off to random wallets that you own, to make that the chain untrackable. And it was initially banned because the only purpose of it is money laundering. But now they brought that back, and the guy who launched it's out of jail and everything. So it's easier now than ever. So if you got a lot of crypto, man, make sure you're hiding that secret key really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really scary. And also, like, the brokers can have issues like we saw in 22, right? Voyager, Celsius, like you name it. They were all bankrupting and Chapter 11 situation. So, yeah, I'm skeptical. So 90% of my crypto holdings are in this kind of ETFs, and I'm safe that way. So I know it's like they say you don't own the crypto, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the only
why I'm-
caveat for the people that are like really crypto guys is
Yeah.
unfortunately you're not actually owning raw crypto. That is the only caveat I have towards the ETFs is like if you want to actually have crypto, you're not buying it. You're getting exposed to the movement. That is it,
Exactly.
right? In your traditional
dollars.
brokerage. And
Yeah.
so that's like the only caveat for me is like obviously I want to have crypto too. So, but that's where you can kind of pick and choose. Like, hey, I'm long-term investing, and holding Bitcoin, raw Bitcoin. But when I'm like swing trading, I want to capitalize on these big moves that I can identify in the market. I'm gonna be trading the ETFs. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I've done things in the past. But it's nice. I mean, you can really pick and choose. Traditional finance investor, crypto, whatever you want, you can go for it. They have
Well,
it
it's
all
like
now.
with gold,
Yeah.
You can have gold coins at home, you can have gold bars, and then
Yep.
you can have the gold ETFs. I like to mix it, I wouldn't, as I said, I wouldn't.
Do
I
you,
would
do you
have a little bit
prefer
of
one
each.
in that area? Do you prefer to have gold like digitally or physical gold? Because I've
Well-
always been in the digital side of things just because
Yeah.
it's easy, it's more liquid, it's easier to get rid of or buy more of. But also, there's just nothing cooler than having a bunch of physical gold.
Well, there are also tax implications, which people forget. Some of the coins are not taxable.
Gotcha.
For example, a golden eagle is, I think, I don't want to give wrong information, but as far as I know, there are tax benefits to holding this coin.
Gotcha.
So you don't
Makes
pay
sense.
tax when you sell it. So it's, you have to think about what you want to do. Of course, the physical gold, again, there's the risk someone breaks into your house or you lose it or something happens. So
Well, and like, I don't know how hard it is. You guys probably know better than me, but like, is it really easy for me to just go to like, I don't know, a pawn shop and get my money's worth, right? Like, I don't know how easy
You take
that
the
is.
gold, the gold coins, yeah. You you can sell them immediately and get a lot of money for them. I mean, just imagine the one American.
Well, that's nice.
Is like, what is it now? $3,000.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, crazy. Well, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I personally want to dip into that and get some physical gold, silver,
Yeah, you
all
should.
that.
It's
Yeah,
really nice.
cool.
Just make
What's up,
sure
Michael?
you leave it in safety box.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say what Leah said there is you got to remember it's heavy, and it's if someone grabs it, it's gone. So you got to be really really careful. That's why the people hoarding gold are usually also hoarding guns, because that's the only way to keep your
every
your
one
gold
of
safe.
them I
right?
know. Yeah.
And as a dude who lives in the woods and has both of those, right? You have to be, yeah. It's super easy to someone come takes. That's why again, majority of my money. Same with crypto. I like in the exchanges because yes, you're not holding the coins, but at the same time, it's insured. If someone, one of my banks goes under, then they can take that. If someone grabs your secret key and puts your money into tornado cash and then takes it, it's gone forever. So it's, with ownership also comes risk. So you just have to make sure that you're prepped for that. Have the key. Like for me, some of the crypto I have, the keys are in safety deposit box, right? So it's like it's still in a bank. It's just it's physically in a bank as well, right? So yeah, you got to think about these things if you're going to self custody. It's not just as easy as kind of set it and forget it, right?
Michael Nauss is just waiting.
Too.
Oh no, go ahead, Leah.
You can diversify, have a little bit of crypto, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, blah blah blah, and you have done the ETFs and the same with gold. I personally never really invested in the gold ETFs because they're not performing as great. For me, it's more fun just to have the coins, and you know how you look at it is like this coin 40 years ago would give me a rent in Manhattan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now 40 years later, that same coin would give me the same rent in Manhattan.
Yeah.
So that's
rough.
gold, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's going with the inflation, and it is how to look at it. So anyways, oh my god, I'm excited with this trade, Oklo.
Oklo
very
looking
nice.
good.
Oklo. It's one of the small nuclear dudes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I had it on last week. We played it from 26 to 30. That was my target. And then we had earnings. So before earnings, I got out because I don't like to play earnings. And then we got in yesterday again. 36. What was the entry?
I have some SMR. That was just my target. I got SMR, and then I've got, because I really like these plays too, and then I have NLR.
That's a good one. Ooh,
So
very
NLR
nice.
is an ETF that has some of the small nuclear guys. It's got some of the big nuclear guys. It's got some uranium in it as well. So it's just a bit of this, uranium nuclear play, because it's one of those, as much as people, scream green energy, I got solar panels in the house. I live in Canada. They do okay sometimes and then really poorly sometimes. And it's nuclear, I think, is definitely the thing. Now that sentiment seems to be changing a little bit on it, people aren't as worried about Chernobyls and things like that. It's like we have the ability to power the entire world for pretty much like clean, super clean. We just needs to be nuclear. So I really like these guys. Something's a little unnerving about building small nuclear reactors for me, but the charts are doing so well that people who know more are probably taking the right bets there.
I agree. The energies, honestly, that's usually the best performing are the people that actually know the business and they understand it and they have information we don't.
Yeah.
It's like that with natural gas too. We can play around with it, but it's extremely difficult to trade. So I will keep it up to them. But these ones are great. Yeah, I've been playing them for a while now. So we had also net trade this week. We scanned and it gave us a huge flow on Monday. So that one just keeps going. And boring one, but UBS. We had entry and exit. Perfect trade.
Oh, UBS, yeah.
Yeah.
So am I the only one who's taking my life into our hands here, and I've been slowly YOLOing into UNH?
We were talking about it
Not just
yesterday on
me.
Spaces.
I did
Some
yesterday
people
too.
were,
Yeah.
some people were taking advantage of it. Obviously,
I
that
did.
daily candle yesterday was looking good for me. One candle doesn't tell the whole story, of course.
Yeah.
But it's the next candle that does for me after seeing something like that, right? And so today, I'm really interested to see how we close. Are we going to try and get over that previous day high with some momentum? Maybe close 50% of that gap, if not the full thing, and start moving higher. That could be like something that actually looks good for the intraday and into next week. But
Oh, I'm thinking next year's, right? I'm
oh
starting to
yeah, no, I'm
really
with you for the
Investing,
long
yes,
term.
yeah.
Yeah, for the long term, for sure.
yeah,
I
For sure.
bought for 251 yesterday.
250.
Nice.
I'm in a boat there as well. I actually bought. I'm not gonna lie, I bought a little bit 300 the day before, and then when and it's one of those. I'm only in about half of what I want to get into, but that's kind of my way of dealing with these types of moves. I did kind of the same thing with Boeing back in the day
Yeah.
when the windows were flying off the planes and stuff. You take these monolithic companies, and then I look at something like UNH, and again, I'm Canadian. I have a very vague understanding how the healthcare system works down there. But it seems like if this company just, you snapped your fingers, it disappeared tomorrow, there would just be pandemonium across like
Oh
the
yeah.
entire US. So this is one of those that eventually this has to recover. The only question is when, and then how much are you, if you're lagging in. So that's my game plan. Again, say you wanted to put 10K into it, right? I put, two and a half and then two and a half, and then I'll put in more in the coming weeks. But I just look at this, especially the long-term chart, and say, man, this is a beast, and it's a beast that needs to exist in order for the U.S. to function. I feel like I have to be a buyer here, but it does not feel good right now, even though I'm up a little bit on it. I'm not comfy in this position by any means.
Well, I bought a bigger position yesterday, and then I got out of 75% of the shares when we reached 262 was half off, and then 25% was off at 275. So now I'm just riding the 25% for a longer term. And if we get down to 222, which is a 200 monthly moving average, that would be my bigger ADA gain. So right there.
Oh, I see it there.
Let me zoom in now. It looks ugly, this chart. Where's my zoom? So that's my next target, and also sold puts there. So I would have 100 shares, which is honestly having 100 shares of UNH for 22K or 22K. It's amazing because you haven't.
I mean,
seen
right?
these
If you like the
prices.
company, this is what we've been talking about, right? You like the company. For the
March
long
20.
term, nothing really changes. I mean, these are the buying opportunities you have to take advantage of, right?
That was probably the
necessarily
move.
like them, but I like the financials.
Yeah,
I get
you like
that.
the fact.
There's opportunity for
Yeah.
potential in the future.
But I
here,
have
so.
to admit, I was with them for 12 years, and it was they really paid everything for me. Even
Yeah.
like beauty surgeries, they would pay. So I cannot complain.
Yeah.
Then they sadly canceled me in COVID because I think they were just dropping.
They said Lia's done. We're
I
sorry.
got canceled in March 2020. So right here. So yeah, this level would be amazing for me. Actually, personally, I wouldn't mind getting in heavier. And if I get a sign, I just get the shares, whatever. I mean, it's down 60%, guys, from the high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the selling of puts, that might be the move. That might be what I start doing some as well.
Yeah.
Just because the volatility is inflated. So if it goes nowhere, which that's one of the actual real risks of something like this, is that it's found a new price, and that's the price it's going to be, and it just hangs out there, and you get a little bit of dividends in the meantime. But I like
How
the
much you
idea
get?
of selling that put and making some money from that.
So if you sell July 18th, 230 strike put, you would get $1,350 right now. So just think about it. And then you could do 180, below 180, because below the COVID low, I mean, I don't know if it's gonna get there. I mean, what worse can happen with this company? As you said, they're not gonna go to zero. Like people are like, oh, go to zero. I'm like, it's not gonna happen. They're crazy. We had the same thing with CrowdStrike. Remember, there was such amazing buying opportunity when they had the lawsuit.
Yes, and they broke the
Oh,
entire world for a day, and they were back
100%
up. Yeah.
after. Look right here in August. Oh, over
that-
100%.
No, that makes perfect
Look.
sense. That's my point of it too. Is I was looking at the company. I'm like, man, the U.S. just implodes if this doesn't exist. So it seems like you'd have to be buying it from there, like lagging in some, right? Even if it's you put in 1% of your net worth and huck it in there and just forget about it for
Just
10
hold it
years.
for 3 years.
Did you guys see the guy that bought like $1 of Bitcoin and it's like 300 something bucks right now?
Cute, yeah.
No,
It was like, I don't know, I saw it this morning. It was like some viral post from some other crypto guy on Twitter, and he was like, my buddy just found his old account that he threw $1 into Bitcoin like years ago, and he just found it and signed in, and it's like 37,000% or something ridiculous. And it's just like, wow, only $1. Imagine if it was 10. Imagine if it was 100. Like, it's tough, really tough.
And these are the moments, right? Same as we were talking about this morning, Jordan, with the market, right? There's a lot of people who regretted not participating, or more importantly, selling at the lows. And then in a couple weeks, we've ripped up 20%, and we're probably, my bet is on our way to all-time highs. Now, the most poetic thing in the world for the market would be us getting to and breaking all-time highs and then selling back off again, because the amount of people
That's what I
who will
want.
chase,
Me too.
they'll chase that all-time
We're gonna
high
break all-time highs, and that's when everybody says we're really going now, because we saw that all last year too, obviously. But last year there was moat to continue going. Now, I don't know. I'm with you. I'm really bullish on this market, but only till the highs. I'm with you, Michael, and I would love to see it just be textbook, come right up and right back down after all-time highs. I'm with you for sure.
And that's the funniest outcome, so it's probably going to be the correct one.
I would love that. We'll pray on it.
What is my levels for today on SPX?
Yeah, what do you got for us on the SPX?
SPX inflection point 59.14. If SPX stays about 59.14, we can see 59.64. Positive gamma near 59.05 supports upward momentum. So yeah, we are going towards that level. And then 59.14, if we break that, we might go to 58.44. But today's OPEX, by the way, at OPEX, monthly expiration.
We didn't mention that, yeah.
Yeah, and apparently this is historically one of the biggest one of the biggest amount of calls expiring today historically. So we will see next week. This is pushing the market higher. So next week we might have a little retest. Who knows? But yeah, looks good so far. We had a little chop here for 2-3 days, and let's go.
It's healthy though, yeah.
Totally. No, I'm very happy. This was a very good month. I mean, we needed it. May is usually a very good month. Last year was insane.
That monthly chart on everything is just, that is that huge bottom wick. We really, that not this month, but the last month, I believe it was, we really just took out all those higher time frame lows, swept them, and now we're looking really good. I love that monthly candle.
Yeah. Cool. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Nice. It looks
Michael,
good.
you got any extra pieces for us for the rest of the day, Michael, that you wanted to throw out there before we get kind of wrapping up here?
No, I was actually checking on my bots because they're not doing anything.
They're not doing nothing. Well,
they're not
good.
doing-
It's OPEX day. That's why.
So yeah, it's usually by now I'd probably be like 6-7 trades deep, and I'm 0. So yeah, so just again, I guess
That tells
trade
me a lot,
responsibly,
though. If
you know?
if your systems aren't giving you anything, and they usually are, and it's OPEX Friday, that's telling me a lot. That I probably wasn't going to trade anyway today, unless I really saw something that I really liked, a plus. But it's pretty certain that I'm not even going to trade today, especially when we're expecting this horrible PA. But maybe we get surprised. I would love that, but no need to trade, man. End of the
No,
week.
and that's it, I'll give them a little bit longer, and then I'll probably shut them down for a day and call it an early day, just because usually I'm 10-15 trades deep right off the open. It's usually again my busiest time. Oh, there we go. So
there's one.
That's what I was talking. So that's one trade so far. I hear the British man yell at me. So
So Michael, are you just listening to that and like because I know that's built off all your quant systems and everything you're using, but is it just like all coming off your systems? You just hear it say, we're doing this, and you're just in it, on it? that fast.
Yeah, no, it's auto,
It's
and
amazing.
yeah, it's the co-host of my podcast is building a bot that takes the output from TradingView with webhooks and just trades it through interactive brokers for you. So,
It's amazing.
yeah, a lot of what I do is I'll have it take the trade and then I'll look at it, and if it's something that I hate, I'll just bail out of it right away. But I'd rather it take the trade and me get out and maybe take a small hit plus commissions than to miss the trade. But yeah, so this one it's shorted. It's a day trade, but it's shorted beyond, which
Gotcha.
BYON. And that's Overstock, the old Overstock, but they bought Bed Bath and Beyond's IP. And again, just I don't, it's one of those. I have a system. It says, hey, I should be shorting this guy here,
Yep.
and I hear the ding from TradingView, and then I hear the British guy from Interactive Brokers,
Love it.
and I know I'm in.
I love it because I'm doing the same thing. I trade very systemized, but I don't have all of it systemized to where it's giving me those signals. So I love that. I might have to talk to you on the back end, figure out
Absolutely,
some
and
things
it's
there.
one of those. I'm not a coder, right? I could not
Yeah.
do this without ChatGPT. So ChatGPT,
Amazing.
I go
That's
and I
amazing.
say, I have a ChatGPT built for my back tester, which is called Real Test, and then I'm using it to help me code the systems. And then when I get the system I like, I'm going over to TradingView and I'm using another ChatGPT and giving it the Real Test code and saying, I need you to make an indicator for me in Real Test or in TradingView, and this is the output I need to have happen. So then every morning I just load up the list from one software into another and hit a button and away it goes. So the freedom of that is that I'm very much now doing my analysis and that kind of thing in the market to come up with new ideas. Because now that I've got a couple systems running, my goal is always to come up with the next system, because the idea is that no system will work all the time. So if I can trade 10 of them by just having the robot trade them for me, then my equity curve is going to be way smoother than if I trade one or two systems. So
Yeah.
yeah, anything you're doing now in the market can be systematized, and I really think for a lot of traders it would make a lot of sense to spend that time to try to figure out what don't you need to be here for, right?
Yeah.
What can you?
Well, because
what
that's
can
the
you-
thing for me, Michael. I mean, I'm waiting for my setup, the data I need to see. Once I see it, risk is on, TP's in, I walk away. I don't need to be there, and that's where just creating a more systemized, process there is good. I think I need to do that a little bit more. Dive into
And
what
it
you're
all
doing.
credit for all this too to my wife, who was like came into my office one day and I got my feet up on my desk and she's like, oh, I thought you were trading today. I'm like, yeah, I'm waiting for this box to flash and then I'm going to take a trade. She's like, well, why can't you just get a robot to place a trade when that box flash? I'm like, you know what? So
Good
I started
idea.
this is a good idea.
Well,
So I'm just
My husband
reaching
is
out to
actually a
programmers.
software engineer, so I have to make sure that I take advantage of it very
Yeah.
soon,
Yeah,
because
Absolutely.
I
Take
think that
advantage.
this is future of trading. We won't be sitting here for days. We're just going to program strategies, and that's amazing to know that ChatGPT actually helped you with that. We did a lot of work for our scanner with ChatGPT, so yeah, it's
Yeah, it can do so. I'd say the two most popular back testers out there, Amni Broker and Real Tests. They both have kind of pros and cons, and it can code in those language for the firms that I know you trade at, Jordan. I'm thinking of opening another account soon, because they have access to NinjaTrader, and
Ooh,
NinjaTrader can
that's
auto
good.
trade,
That's good.
Yeah,
right?
We
So
like that.
and
Yeah.
ChatGPT can speak, can program with NinjaTrader. So you would just sit down with ChatGPT and just type, "This is the setup that I want," and it would build that. And I'm gonna create a NinjaTrader paper account, and you start trading in paper, and then you start
Oh, boy.
right, you start going from there.
I gotta
So,
get on that. Oh
Yeah.
boy, this is gonna be fun. Let's go.
times.
Yeah.
Fun
All right, crew. Well,
All right, guys.
it's been a great morning. I appreciate you both coming on. We always have fun. This is a great morning. For the audience, enjoy the day, enjoy the weekend. We got some time away from the charts this weekend, so that'll be nice. I know I'm gonna enjoy it. I've been on the charts all day this weekend. I've actually traded almost every day of the week, which is unlike me. I usually am taking like 2-3 trades a week, so we had a lot of positions this week, and I'm tired. I'm ready to get away from the charts for the weekend and
Enjoy.
then get back Monday. But yeah, probably taking the day off. I'm not gonna trade OPEX. We already talked about that, so
yeah.
we'll see how the day wraps up, and let's go enjoy the weekend, guys. All right, everybody enjoy. Everybody trade safe. Follow your rules. We'll see you guys next week.
Have fun.
See you guys.
Thank you.